Okay, for this project, since the unit is changing from default decimal inches to architectural unit, we need to make some initial changes to our limits as well. And also we need to set the units. And scale is given here 5/16 to 1 foot because we want to fit this on our template, which is a small size paper, A size paper. So let's begin AutoCAD with our default template. So once you have your drawing with the same template that we have been using, we need to first thing to do adjust our limits, because I try to start drawing with this large drawing would not fit in this paper. So let's begin changing the limits by accessing from the pull-down menu, or you can always type limits on the keyboard. So we don't change the lower corner, specify the lower left corner. We will keep it default 0,0 by pressing enter to accept. For the upper right corner, which shows 11 by 8.5, we will change to the numbers that I have given to you on your handout sheet. That would be 7. This is slightly different from that worksheet from the lesson 20. I made some adjustment on that one. The scale was different. So use these scales instead. 7, 9, 2, comma 6, 1, 2. These are still in inches. So I have not changed the unit, so it still takes as an inch. So you don't have to type inch mark. These are default settings. So as you notice that its now limits are changed. We need to zoom in until, or you can zoom all to see the entire screen. Now, before we start drawing, we need to change our units. From Format, select Units. Change the default length unit to architectural from decimal inches. That's all the changes on this menu. Click OK to finish. Select line. Pick a point on approximate lower left corner as you see on this screen. You may want to set your ortho on by pressing F8 and type this number 10 feet. In order to include 10 feet, you need to type this feet mark by pressing enter. So you have drawn 10 feet. If you forget to type that feet mark, would consider 10 inches would be very small. So don't forget to type that feet mark. At this point, I'm going to go to in creating that roof angle, because I do not have the angle given, but I do have information here that shows horizontal and vertical distance. By going through this dimension calculation, you will notice that height here is 10 feet, 12 minus 22. And here we have 6, 5, and 4, which makes it 15. So we have on the X direction 15 feet, and on the Y direction 10 feet. So we type those by using the relative symbol at 15. Don't forget the feet mark again, comma, which separates X and Y, 10 10 feet. Let me just make sure that I did get the right dimension here. 20, okay, so this initial one was 12 feet. I believe I typed them 10. I will adjust that. So let me type this one. So this would be 10 feet. And this one is 23 feet. So we will repeat this one. This time I'm going to type at, using the relative symbol, 15 feet again. Both sides are symmetrical. Instead of going up, I need to go down. So I need to, by typing comma, and for the y-axis, negative 10 feet. So to the right is positive, down is negative. And this one should be 12 feet. I typed 10 last time. Should be 12 feet. And then comes here, we're going to be short a little bit. So I'm going to type this 53 feet. That should connect to that point right now. That should be 12 feet. So initially this line should have been 12 feet. So now we have this outline created. This time, to extend this roof to give us a little overhang, we need to use another guideline here to extend this to that line. To do that, you can, to make it exactly also 2 feet. So if I use the offset tool, offset is a very useful one to do, and you have already learned about the offset tool. So by selecting the offset, setting the distance to 2 feet, and press enter, select the line, and select the side on the other side. Repeat on the right side, and then press enter to finish. Now I have something to extend this line to reach this line, because I don't want to type the whole thing again in angle, because we don't know exactly. We do know the distance here, but I don't know exactly the angle, or I don't know exactly what is the y-axis. So it's the best way to extend this line by selecting extend. And before I select this line, I need to define the boundary by picking the boundary option and selecting this line. And then also selecting the object to extend. Oops, forgot to select the boundary first. And then press enter, then select the object to extend. Press enter to finish. Now I can come back and delete these lines. Select both of them and erase. Now, how do you establish this portion? One of the tools that you're going to learn on this one is the mirror tool, because this is the mirror image of that. So if you look back to this assignment sheet, you notice that this portion, we don't know exactly any dimension for this. We don't have the height to know where it exactly is, but we know this is if you flip this over and then trim this, we can create this image. We need to have one point exactly defined here, which is one of these points here, which we do know. This is 5 feet, or 9 feet rather, from this point to the right and down with this distance, which would be difference between 16 and 22. This distance and this distance. Okay, 16 from that one. You take 22 minus 16 would be 6 feet, correct? 6 feet from this point to this point, and 9 feet this one. If I can establish that point, then I can mirror this exactly on that line. So let's do that. So before I continue, I'm going to draw a construction line from this end going 9 feet and dropping down actually exactly any distance, because it's going to be intersect with that anyway. But if you measure this one, it's going to be exactly 6 feet, but you don't need to know. Just pick any point, because I can use this intersection of that one to create that mirror. So when you go to the mirror command, using the mirror tool. Under the modify, you have that tool. You can select that mirror. Under the mirror tool, it's going to ask you, this prompts you to select object. So you select these 3 lines. I do have this instruction on that lesson 20 sheet also if you download. And then it's going to ask you select object, continue, but we don't have anymore. Press enter to end that selection. Next step is the specify first point on mirror line. For this, I'm going to select intersection. If your intersection is not on under the object snap, hold the shift, right click, and make sure you select intersection. So this gives you exact point there. Now, other point, as long as you have your ortho on, if I have ortho off, requires another point. So to make sure that the second point is exactly horizontal on the same, aligned with the same point, it's best to have your ortho on and pick any point to the left of this point. Just left click and then no to this question because you don't want to delete the source, and then it's done. So come back to eliminate these lines by erasing and trimming these 2. This is one way to establish that. The reason we did this way because I didn't know where this line is. It's not given. So use the trim tool. Under the trim tool, we can trim that. Okay. Right. The next, establishing some of these windows. We will create one. This is one of the drawing that you learn a lot of modification tools. Apply some of the modification tools, including the mirror that you just saw, and also copy. Copy is another option that you're going to use here. I will stop here and we'll come back to complete this assignment and add other features to it.